Hey everyone, welcome to Like a Boss podcast. And as always, every week we bring you a fascinating guest. Today we've got Jennifer Mercer. She's a serial entrepreneur who's been in tech for a while. She hails back to the days of WebEx and WebMD when they were just beginning. She founded a company called Dream Factory Software, which she's recently exited, and she's currently the co-founder of Metazoa, which ties into Salesforce. Tremendous expertise that she brings to the table in enterprise and SaaS software. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, how are you?
Well, it's so great to have you here because you are the consummate woman in tech. You've done it all. You've only been in tech.
I've only been in tech. Yes. And thank you so much for having me. Listening to some of the podcasts, and I think they're fantastic.
Oh, thanks for that. That's, what we aim to do is just, if we can make a few people kind of interested in what we're doing, talk about some of the challenges that these female founders have faced, it might spark some new ideas or solutions for some of the people that are listening. So thanks for helping us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so let's dig in and talk about your latest venture here, Metazoa. Tell us about the company, what stage you're at, and if you're seeking funding, partnerships, customers, like where are you in that journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned Salesforce, and my previous company, Dream Factory, which I'll talk about briefly, was one of the first Salesforce partners, and we had the first app on the Salesforce App Exchange marketplace. With Metazoa, we are 2.5 years old. We're a B2B enterprise SaaS company, and as you mentioned, a Salesforce partner. And our core product, it allows Salesforce developers and administrators to manage and maintain very large, complex enterprise databases, or as Salesforce calls it, their Salesforce orgs. What makes us different is we have no coding required. As I mentioned, we sell to Salesforce's largest customers, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, in sectors such as healthcare, financial, government, et cetera. And we've closed close to 90 enterprise customers to date.
Wow, incredible. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. We raised over 23 million before Dream Factory was acquired in 2017. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I learned from my mistakes. We scaled too fast, too early, and frankly, it was unnecessary. We gave up too much equity. So currently, Metazoa is completely bootstrapped. And when we take funding, it will be the right time with the right partner and the right terms. We have very little overhead with Metazoa, and so we can continue to grow while staying lean.
So let's dig into more of this on Metazoa and how you're creating really these software, I guess, constructs and building blocks to change the lives of people so that companies are no longer completely beholden to software developers, right? To bring in the data and that they need. They can make it available, really democratize it, make it accessible to more people. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely, 100%. You know your stuff. So my team has a deep understanding of the Salesforce platform and technology. And what we found is that all of the other companies in our space are still focused mainly on the developer and DevOps. When we founded Metazoa and launched Metazoa, there wasn't one comprehensive tool for the administrator, or what you could say is the business user. Yet that person is ultimately responsible for maintaining all of these databases and orgs. So we created our product Snapshot, and it uses visual layouts and clicks instead of code, and now gives the administrators the capabilities of the developer and complete control over the development process within their company. Gives people gives those who are not commonly seen in the Salesforce environment the opportunity to excel and display their skills.
What it also does too, which I think is a really interesting business model, is that it overcomes some of the deficit with respect to the ability to recruit and retain software development.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously there's still a need for both the developers and the administrators, but the developers don't want to maintain these databases and orgs on a day-to-day. Developers want to develop. So by allowing now these administrators to be able to deploy the development and maintain the process and oversee the core competency of it all, it allows everybody to work smoothly and do the jobs that they want to do.
And it allows them to customize it, for interpretation the way that they want for the business unit or function that they represent. So that's really cool.
Yep.
You're empowering lots of people, Jennifer. Awesome.
That's what we're trying to do.
Well, it ties into the next question, really, which is about what makes you a good leader?
Oh, that's a good question. That's one I struggled with at the beginning. I struggled because, and I think every founder and entrepreneur goes through this. So it's if you're going through it, you'll get through it. But what's so difficult is at the beginning of launching your company, you're doing everything. I mean, you're figuring out payroll and taking out the trash, right? You're doing literally everything, but you're also doing the marketing and the sales and the messaging and developing the website, or at least what your vision is. And it's really hard to transition those tasks to others. Even if you trust the leaders that you've hired, it's still hard. It's like, taking a bottle from a baby, and you have to let it go. I learned, actually, I had a coach who told me something really interesting, which was really good leaders have their leadership team beside them, not just behind them.
Okay, you're doing a great job queuing up all of the next questions. So I think this is a great segue into what's the hardest thing that you've ever had to do?
Probably the credit crisis in 2008. I had to have a 50% company-wide layoff. So our investors pushed us, and probably everyone else, to downsize. It was December. We were all going through this, but I had to lay off 50% of my employees. And, they're like family. It was so painful. One of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. It's also another reason I'm cautious of scaling in anticipation of growth rather than scaling because of current growth and growing more organically, because I've seen this happen not just to Dream Factory, but to many, many other companies, many portfolio companies within our previous VC firm.
Why do you do what you do? Like, what gets you jazzed to go through all of this?
Oh, yeah, I love what I do. I think some people just have the entrepreneurial spirit. It's fast paced, it's exhilarating. It's probably also not the best trait to have because it can also have high highs and some low lows. But I just know myself. I think I would honestly be bored out of my mind at a safe traditional job, or even not having a job. I'm a working mom and wife, and my family sees my passion and they support me. I have a daughter in high school, and I don't want her to have to make a choice between following her passion or being a mom. I think as women, we can really have it all. And I feel like I do.
Ooh, I love that. Our audience is going to eat that up, Jennifer. Now, you've already been tremendously successful in your career and on a personal front, but I'm going to ask this big question. Is any one thing holding you back from being wildly successful?
Yes. And I think, again, this is probably a part of the founder mentality. While I said, trust your team, delegate, it's still really hard to not take on too much. And honestly, not just at work, but in general in life. I think it's just a mentality. And the go, 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 go really does not get you to the finish line. You have to take a step back, assess your situation, not be on autopilot. I see a lot of people, a lot of women too, by the way, because we all take on too much. And sometimes we get on autopilot because we just need to we need to finish this task and this task and this task. And then, it's a disservice to ourselves, for one thing. I honestly have to say the pandemic was very helpful for me. It allowed me to slow down as a mom, as a wife, but also with our company, and really assess, are there other features and functionality that our customers are looking for, and really talk to our customers. And it's been great. I'm not for everybody, and I know it's not a good situation, but for someone like myself, it was a forced slowdown. So, just trying to take any kind of positive for myself, my family, and those around me. I try to do that, because obviously we're living in a lot of negativity right now.
Right. And that's all you can do is just focus on that. So, but if you had the opportunity to change one thing from the past, and I said, here, Jennifer, here's some magic pixie dust,
Mm.
what one thing would you change?
Well, obviously, I've gotten to where I am for a reason. However, I look back at some of the days at Dream Factory, and I just can picture myself sitting in a boardroom full of men, knowing that the discussions that were being had and the choices that were being made, and I'm talking about company choices, going in this direction, or charging for this or not charging for this, simple things. But me not speaking up, while really my gut is telling me this isn't the right choice. This partnership is not the right partnership. This is not, and I was always right, but I didn't feel that way at the time. It took years later, and there's the whole fake it till you make it, and I think we all do that. It's also, I feel like it's just pushing you into your next level. And you get there and you look back and you think, I realized I had as much experience and education as everyone in that room, but they seemed so sure of themselves and so confident that I didn't feel the same way, and they were probably faking it until they made it. So looking back, I would have spoken up a lot more. That's my biggest regret.
Well, since we're on the topic of tips, perhaps you could share your best tip for the next generation of women in tech.
Yeah, we have a lot of female interns at Metazoa, and they're phenomenal. They're amazing. I think this generation is changing the world. And I'm talking about the 22 to 28-year-olds right now that are working at our company. They are passionate. They're motivated. They want to jump to the next level so fast. And I think there's a couple of things. Is one, I talk about a good leadership team should know how to do all of the roles that they then later hire for. And that's because they started there. And we all have to start somewhere, and we have to learn all of it. You don't want to become a VP of marketing and then not really understand how to write content, how branding works, how to even create a social media following. And also, so learn along the way and listen, because there's a tendency to think, well, I learned this at school, so I know it. But there's something to be said for experience. Learn, listen, and then use that education, that intellect, and then forge your own path.
We're all lifelong learners here, so it's poignant that you said that. But to that end, can you recommend a book that we should read?
Yes, and I'm probably one that has read every business leadership, nonfiction, and quite a bit of fiction books out there. But a book, I mentioned my coach earlier in the talk, and she recommended a book called Multipliers. It's by, I think, Greg McGowan and Liz Wiseman. And I think the tagline is "How the best leaders make everyone smarter." It was a game changer for me. It really allowed me to do all of those things where I let my leaders lead, empowered them. They now support me. I feel like I'm on a team while they see me as a leader, but I feel like we're all one team. And that's a book I think every entrepreneur, founder, leader should read.
And that's so incredible. That's one I haven't heard of. So I've just added it actually as you were talking to my Amazon cart. Now, all right. Turning the tables here. How can our audience help you?
Well, if you know anyone who is interested in a Salesforce career or has a Salesforce career, you can let them know about this awesome, empowering tool that you heard about on the Like a Boss podcast. And also, just one other thing I want to say about the Salesforce is Salesforce has created over 3 million jobs in the last couple of years, Salesforce related jobs. And with our solution, we really try to empower those that normally would not have an opportunity. We support a nonprofit called Pep Up Tech that trains underserved youths on Salesforce related jobs and allows this to open up to a much wider audience. So those two things.
Got it. Now, last question, a little less serious than everything we've been covering here so far. But if I had to ask you and say, what shoe type would best match your personality? Is it boots, stilettos, sneakers, flats, or flip-flops?
I really think it has to be all of the above. I'm a Gemini, so it's all of the above.
Well, that makes a lot of sense then. All right, Jennifer, thank you so much for stopping by today and joining us on our Like a Boss podcast. We really appreciate all of the tips and insights into running SaaS and enterprise software companies to help the next generation of women in tech. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?